Subscribe to Hollywood Dazzle. Press the bell icon to never miss an update from us.
We are currently living in a new golden age of horror. As our real world becomes even more terrifying, filmmakers have stepped up their game to use horror as a way to analyze the nightmare of our off-screen lives. Here are the top 5 best horror movies of all time. The 1968 movie, Night of the Living Dead. You don't come across too many horror films that create their very own subgenre, but that's pretty much what George A. Romero's original Night of the Living Dead pulled off. The word zombie was around long before 1968, but that was the film that introduced legions of reanimated corpses who wander around in large groups and devour any living human they can get their hands on. Halloween from 1978. John Carpenter set the bar high by naming his slasher Halloween. Luckily, it's a film that millions of people want to revisit each and every October. This simple yet aggressively suspenseful tale of a plucky babysitter and a mass murderer has been ripped off and remade more than one can count. Psycho of 1960. Most of Alfred Hitchcock's films could be described as suspenseful, but it wasn't until this 1960 classic that the legendary filmmaker began dabbling in full-bore horror. Anthony Perkinson's amazing performance as Mama's boy Norman Bates is only one of this brilliant thriller's big assets. And that nasty jolt of an ending still packs a punch even if you already know what's coming. 1973 movie, The Exorcist. The original, unquestionable, undisputable great-grandpappy of possession horror, and one hell of a brutally good time. William Friedkin's The Exorcist is not just one of the greatest films ever made, it's also one of the most well-constructed horror movies of all time. The story of demon-inhabited Reagan, her distraught mother, and the 2 priests working their religious mojo to save her life holds up to repeat viewings. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre of 1974. There are a lot of scary movies out there, and then there are movies that drop you headfirst into an actual nightmare. Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre opens with a gruesome sight, slows down just a bit for some mildly creepy setup, then dumps 5 clueless kids into a cannibalistic nightmare that simply does not let up until the final credits. For my money, it's one of the purest examples of horror cinema. The movie still creeps me out to this day.
Do not forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.